So, Jason, when I take the Joy-Con off of my Switch, I can sometimes manage to fit it into my pocket.
Okay, well, the new one's bigger, so you're not going to be able to do that. Unless you get bigger pockets.
Yeah, are cargo shorts making a comeback?
Ooh, I mean, you can make them come back if you want to wear cargo shorts.
Yeah, we've all seen the Switch 2, though. We've seen how big it is in comparison to the Switch 1. It's the first thing we see, actually. And so a lot of people have been talking about, is the portability going to be kind of just more like maybe keep it at the house? Because, like, you know, it is, I play portable, quote unquote, but really all that means is I get tired of sitting in a computer or a desk chair and I'll pick it up and play on the bed, or I'll play on like the couch or a chair.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to be able to move around the house with it, but I don't really take my Switch with me outside.
I don't think it's going to be meaningfully different because this is not a pocket device. It is a bag device. It is not like the good old days of a good old PSP. This goes right in my pocket.
Beautiful.
But the Switch was never this.
Yeah,
so.
it never was. And I do kind of mourn that, you know, like the 3DS, for example.
Even the Switch Lite was never, it wasn't small enough for that.
Yeah, even, the problem with the Switch Lite is you couldn't take the controllers off. And so it's kind of a big form factor, really.
If it's a dedicated handheld like a PSP, that's not a big deal. I don't complain that I can't rip these buttons off.
Right, but I'm saying, like, yeah, they shrunk it, but since you couldn't take it off, it's actually in some ways less portable. You know, like you're committing to this chunk.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what do you think? Have you ever owned a Switch Lite?
I'm sorry?
Did you own a Switch Lite?
Hell no.
Oh, okay. I got one to trade Pokemon with myself, so I'm a loser.
Oh, okay. Now,
so I do have one.
I will say it had the cutest colors and the coolest special edition.
You know what it's good for? It's good for Tetris 99.
Is it really?
It is, because the D-pad's pretty good.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So it's like a legit way to play that game.
It has a D-pad?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh, hold on. Where is mine? It's right there. Yeah, let me do a little tour.
Yeah,
I was really pissed off when I got this, by the way, because it was like a couple days after I bought this, they announced a special Pokemon edition, and I just got a yellow one. So yeah, there's a D-pad on this thing.
That looks nice, actually. And I assume it's better than the Pro Controller D-pad.
It's not the Pro Controller D-pad. It's like a regular Nintendo D-pad. So
I hope they fix the Pro Controller for the Switch too, man.
I hope there is one. I'm getting worried it's just going to be the exact same.
No, there's going to be a Pro Controller, a new one.
You think there's going to be a new one?
There has to be. I think, though, I was wondering about like whether or not original Joy-Con will work on Switch 2.
They will.
Yeah, I thought so too,
Guaranteed.
even though there's more buttons.
Yeah.
But just as like
it's not enough of a difference for them to close it off. And everything's Bluetooth now anyway, so like it'll just connect.
Speaking of the Joy-Con, though, you know, I am a dreamer and a hoper. And back when Nintendo gave you a little incentive to take your mobile portable devices with you with something like Street Pass, I've been just thinking in my head, would there be any chance of it coming back? And I feel like because it is so large, that answer is no. But
may I remind you of Iwata's second death?
Yeah. You may.
Street Pass is over. It's over. AR cards are over. It's done. It's
not
just
the AR
done.
cards.
You're not. That was cool to pull out. When the 3DS first came out, that was like what I showed people. I'm like, dude, look at this.
Well, it was so cool at first, man. It was like
Pikachu.
Because it was literally 3D, you know?
Yeah.
That was very, very cool to me.
Man, I had that the day after it came out. Like, I went into school with it, and people were like huddled around me watching me play Street Fighter on it.
Oh, yeah, Street Fighter 4, right?
That was the game I got, yeah.
The launch game. I forget about that.
That's the only version of that game I've ever played.
Well, there you go.
The 3DS version. And then, like, less than a year later, they put out they put out another version on the 3DS. Those fucking carnies. Just ripping off people who bought it at the launch.
I'll say this. There's a mysterious button on the Joy-Con.
Yeah?
The C button. We actually haven't talked about it yet on the channel.
Yeah? What do you... Well, I mean, they got rid of the C.
They got rid of the C, but people think they're just concealing it. You know,
Oh.
if I'm to put on my thinking cap, perhaps there's hope for Street Pass.
You think the C stands for Street Pass and they
I
spelled it
think the
wrong?
C stands for connect.
Oh, okay.
And I think it would potentially stand for sending out a deliberate mobile signal or putting it into that way to like kind of get maybe some connections with nearby Switch 2s. But the issue with it being not portable, you know, because it really isn't, it's kind of too big. What if you could just take your Joy-Con with you and the Joy-Con had that baked in functionality and you treated it like a Pokewalker?
Yeah, they did this with the Wii remotes. If you remember, the Wii remotes had this functionality.
I don't remember.
Like
actually.
you could save your Miis to your Wii remote and then connect it to another Wii and have your Miis on their Wii.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? That was like when the Wii was coming out, that was like a core functionality that they just never really made use of.
Well, they could bring it back for Switch 2. I mean, wouldn't that be so cool?
I guess.
The thing is, I want, like, the reality is I'm not going to take the Switch 2 with me places, but I want to. Give me that reason, you know? Like, the Switch 2, unlike the Switch 1, it's going to look nice when it comes out. Like, the Switch 1 kind of looked like still a little, like, toddler-esque, you might say. Like, it's kind of a clunky tablet.
I think that's easy to say in hindsight, and we're going to feel the same way about Switch 2 when it's 8 years old.
There's a different feeling I get just from the power perspective. Like that initial Switch trailer when they showed Breath of the Wild being played on it, it looked like 15 frames per second. And it actually ran way better than that. But I'm just saying, like, holding that in public just kind of like, with especially, it had such a gray screen. You know what I mean? Like just...
Sure.
And I feel like the Switch 2 is a lot more attractive looking, just like from the beginning. Like when I first saw the Switch, I did not think it was like very attractive. I wouldn't want to take it or be seen with it, you could say. I'm trying to give it any possible chance I can here. Like I want to believe, I just feel like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
I feel like
fun.
the port. I feel like Nintendo would need a real kick in the nuts to even think about adding Street Pass back, because right now they're like, okay, it worked. All we did was make a machine that plays games, and that's all it does. It plays games. We don't need Miiverse. We don't need any of this shit. We don't need Street Pass. We don't need none of that. Like, it's extemporaneous. There's no reason to have it. I think that's the lesson they learned from Switch 1, and they're not going to unlearn it just because we want it to happen. Because like I'm kind of with you. Like I'm not gonna be like the no fun guy that's like, no, Street Pass is stupid. I like Street Pass. I was into Street Pass when I got my 3DS. But like, I just don't think that. I think the time has come and gone for that.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I feel like there's got to be at the very least.
Yeah,
We're done with the app. There's going to be baked in communication features of some kind. Because they don't exist. They don't exist on the Switch.
I don't think there is. I don't think there's gonna. I just think there isn't gonna be. I think they're happy with the phone app.
I think the phone's done, man.
I mean, it should be because it's stupid.
Yeah, and like I feel like online voice chat and stuff like this has got to be coming. I think it's embarrassing. But the phone thing came with a deal. It was like a more complicated deal where they were doing that app and they were also making, that was when they were first making mobile games and stuff, if you remember.
Yeah.
That contract is probably done. So I think they're free to do whatever the hell they want to now. Something though that would concern me is I find it refreshing that the Switch does not have like an actual web browser. I like that it doesn't have...
You think that's refreshing? You're just like, oh, no web browser. That's good.
Well, it was nice to... In the beginning, there wasn't like Netflix or Hulu or anything. You know, like they pushed so hard
not.
for... Yeah. Well, there is YouTube, but I think that's the only one.
Oh, you're right. There is YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever used it, but yeah.
But something I liked about... You said like this is only for games. I hope it's still for games. For the Switch 2. Like, I hope they don't try and, like, make it for, like, Apple TV and, like, all this...
Well, I mean, we just watched the first Nintendo Direct. They were not focused on the games when the 3DS came out.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. What they were focused on was Donkey from Shrek doing Michael Jackson's Thriller in 3D. So.
Oh man, you're not even kidding. That was
And
That's what they.
an exclusive 3D video from Foster the People or whatever.
I don't know,
That
some
was
band
so
I don't know
cringe,
about.
dude. It's so sad. Man. But so you said you're not a Zero Fun guy. Do you have any
Well,
hopes? Is there anything you'd like to see?
like as far as like bonus features go,
As far as just like the operating system, like at the very, it's got to run
I want
at
it to be
1080,
new.
right?
Don't give us the same one. I think a lot of the appeal of a new system is just a new UI, a new feel.
Yes.
Right? The most disappointing thing to me about the Xbox Series is not like any of the functionality. It's that the UI was unchanged from the Xbox
same.
One.
Yeah.
Literally the exact same.
It's sad.
That's a criminal. Just give you anything new. Like, and take any of the millions of fan mock-ups of the new UI. Just take one of them. You do that. They're all good.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Nintendo UI?
Oh. I gotta go Wii.
Yeah, they're all really good. I'll tell you the ones.
Good.
I'll tell you the ones.
Ironically, except the Switch. Which
yeah,
is not
except
that
the
good.
Switch is the worst one. What's funny too is the Switch runs at 720p no matter where it is, so it just looks like ass on like a TV. Have you noticed that?
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but you know, I get what you're saying.
It actually doesn't go to 1080 though. Like games will run at 1080p, but the UI will actually run at 720p. So it switches.
Is that true? I've never noticed that. If that's true.
Yeah, it's ugly, man. I think the 3DS is probably my favorite, but the DSi is really clean.
I got another thing I want.
Sure.
The capture button.
Yes.
2 things. Make it longer than 30 seconds. Make it 1080p, please.
Yeah. It can handle that now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Make it like 2 minutes and make it 1080p. And I'm happy.
How many captures do you have on your Switch right now?
The thing is I delete them as soon as I get them. I put them on the computer and I delete them. So it's still a lot, but it's not as many as it could be because I've ran out all the space on my SD card many times. Because whenever I review a game on my Switch, which sometimes I review retro games on my Switch because of Switch Online or whatever, I don't run the Elgato. I just use the capture a lot. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'll review a Switch game with 1,000,000 30-second clips. I'll have a folder with 1,000 30-second clips.
Stop.
I'm not kidding. That's how I reviewed the Deadly Premonition games. That's how I reviewed Breath of Fire 2 because I played that on my Switch. That's how I reviewed.
That feels like a nightmare way to capture footage.
No, it's cool. I don't know. I like having a bunch of different clips, honestly.
That's a pretty cool fun fact.
Yeah.
How many do you think I have right now on my Switch? I've got it up.
2,000.
You're a little low.
2,500.
I have 11,215.
Oh my god. I didn't even know that was possible. Do you have like a fucking 10 terabyte SD card in there?
I've got a bigger one. I'm not sure exactly what. Oh, you know what? Here's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, nice win. Yeah, I have screenshots of all my Tetris 99 wins, or at least all the ones I remembered to do. You know what sucks about playing that game on 2 different systems is it splits the count. Like, my win count is like not as good as it should be because they're split between my actual Switch and my Switch Lite.
Oh, dang, that sucks.
Yeah, like you think it would sync up, but it doesn't.
Well, that's another thing that would be nice is if, like, you know, it's always been janky if you want to have 2 Switches. I hope with the Switch 2 they make it easier. You know, they specifically said, though, something they noticed about the Switch was that people tend to own multiple Switches. Like, and so, like, it's got to be something they're thinking about for the Switch 2. Also,
like, you can't have, like, the way cloud saves work is you need to download it to a system and it can only be on one or the other. You can't have it on both.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It does.
I was going to complain about how the PS Vita is not comfortable to hold or play. Because in order to play all of the PSP Madden games for my video, you can actually get video out from a PS Vita if you hack it, just from the charging port.
That's amazing.
So that's what I did to capture the footage. And it plays PSP games, so I just put them all on there.
Yeah.
And it got me into like my playing Vita mode again. And I took it on the drive to MegaCon. I didn't drive. I was playing it in the passenger seat. I was playing Ratchet and Clank. Oh my god, it's so bad. Whoever at Sony thought that the touchpad on the back of the system was a good idea needs to be barred from the gaming industry for life. They should not be allowed to contribute to any creative decision ever in history. Because do you want to know?
Perfectly
you want to know what it does in
take.
Ratchet and Clank? The whole. Do you know? Have you ever played a PS Vita?
No.
Okay. So the idea is like the regular screen is the touch screen, but also on the back of the system is another touch panel that like registers where your fingers are.
Okay.
Ratchet and Clank on the PS Vita considers the entire back of the system like the equivalent of the R2 button.
Stop.
So you need to like hold it like if this is my Vita, you need to like hold it like this. So you
What
can't
a
have your
terrible,
fingers on the
terrible idea.
If you're like this, it thinks you're holding down R2 the whole time, and there's no way to remap the controls.
So when you're talking about someone needs to be fired, you're talking about the Ratchet and Clank developer who made that decision.
No, I mean whoever, because the touchpad sucks too. Like the touchpad is worthless. It is a gimmick that should not have been allowed to be on the system. But also, like, empowering developers to think that it should be actually used for anything. And it just a fucking button press, for one. Like, it's... Oh, my God. It's so bad.
Damn.
Like...
You know what game's good, though, is Loco Roco for the original
Sure.
PSP.
I feel like I have to play it, like, on a table with my index fingers. Just so I'm not constantly hitting the R2 button. It's atrocious.
Damn.
Good Madden games, though. The Madden games on PSP are good.